everyone. Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. We're back for our annual look at Delta Downs Jackpot Day. It's Delta Downs Now, presented by Horse Player Now, and we look forward to an 11-race card. Purses totaling more than $2.3 million on this program from Vinton, Louisiana. First post is 1:45 Central Time, 2:45 Eastern. Special day racing. We're usually under the lights at Delta Downs, but move your clocks forward for this big card on Saturday. Hall of Fame trainers, World Classic Clips award-winning jockeys, they're all converging on Vinton, Louisiana for a mega stakes card. Again, $2.3 million in purses. That's what they'll play for. You as horse players will play for more than $200,000 in a guaranteed all-stakes pick 4. That on races 4 through 7. Caton Bredar from our Night School team will join us for the Night School podcast in just a moment to take you through all of those races. But we want to let you know that if you want to follow more on the Delta Downs Jackpot, follow on Twitter at Delta Racing or go to deltadownsjackpot.com. You'll get up-to-date information, all the news, movers, and shakers going towards the big day on Saturday. And, of course, the competitors in the Delta Downs Jackpot this year are battling again for 10 qualifying points towards the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Derby Points Challenge and Chase. 14 alumni of the Delta Downs Jackpot have gone on to compete in the Kentucky Derby. 8 of them since 2013, including last year when Exaggerator not only ran second in the Kentucky Derby, but went on to win the Preakness Stakes. It's going to be a big night and big afternoon of racing into the evening, but again, it all gets started at 1:45 Central Time on Saturday. We'll be back in just a moment with Caton Bredar and our podcast that'll kick off this handicapping sequence for you. It's Delta Downs Jackpot Day coming up this Saturday. Joining me now is Caton Bredar to talk about the $200,000 guaranteed pick 4, just a 12% takeout. Caton, we start things off in the Delta Mile, $250,000 race, and before there was a Delta Jackpot, the Delta Mile was the big race in Vinton, Louisiana, and we've got a familiar face to folks at Delta Downs and national simulcast players back, and that being Rise Up.
Well, the bad news on the pick 4 sequence is how tough it is toward the end. But the good news is that we might be able to start with a single. I think that could be the case with Rise Up, who's riding a 2-race win streak and has proven over the track. He's 3 for 5 at Delta and 1 second, 1 third. I think he does his best running here. He's very good at the distance and fresh coming into this for Tom Amos. If that wasn't enough, add to it that you've got Javier Castellano, which is a great sign, especially given that he's ridden the horse before, and most importantly, I think, is lone speed. I just don't see anything necessarily challenging him. So as good as he is, he'd be a top contender anyway, but with the pace scenario, he's a single for me.
Third in the Delta Mile last year to Cougar Ridge and departing. This doesn't look as tough a field as that one to me. If you don't want a single Rise Up, let's give the fans some options.
I'd go with Great Minds myself. 2 for 2 at Delta. He's going to be up against it pace-wise, but I do think he likes the 2-turn mile.
And Fear the Cowboy comes out of a 4th-place finish in the Lucas Classic at Churchill Downs behind Noble Bird, Hawakam, and Braidster. That was probably a grade 2 or grade 3 level race. A drop in class, perhaps. So, Great Minds, Fear the Cowboy, the ones to fear maybe underneath Rise Up, but Rise Up a single for probably both of us in the pick 4. We move now to the 5th race on the card. It's the $75,000 Samstown. This is for horses who have not won a sweepstakes in their career. They could never have won a stakes race. But I'll tell you, last time out at Keeneland, the Truth or Else won an allowance race that was definitely stakes quality. Kurt Becker has the call.
Truth or Else is going to angle to the clear from the 4th spot. 4 lengths from the lead, 3 lengths from the lead. Din's Legacy behind that one. Totally Drenched, the leader, though. The Truth or Else comes up from the outside. Chivarelli still lingering back toward the rail. Din's Legacy is 4th on the far outside. Totally Drenched, chased by the Truth or Else. Chivarelli still 3rd. The Truth or Else from the outside has the lead from Totally Drenched. Chivarelli 3rd. The Truth or Else to win it.
And Caton, the Truth or Else surprised me in that race. I didn't think he was fast enough to win a sprint against those kind of horses. Chivarelli, Totally Drenched. That was a good field that day. He got 102 late pace figure from Briss. That tells me the 7 furlongs here, a 2-turn 7 furlong race, keep in mind, at Delta Downs. That tells me he's quick enough to run on this bull ring and win a race like this. I like the Truth or Else.
He draws well, too. I think post is going to make a difference. Again, 2 turns here for the 7 furlongs, and I think that helps him here. He's actually got very good form if you go back earlier in his career to his 2-turn races at Oaklawn. To me, he's definitely one of the contenders, and I see this race as having some legitimate pace. So I think it sets up a little for a horse from off of it. A horse I also liked an awful lot in here, doesn't get the best of it so far as the draw is concerned. That's the 10 Black Bear. He's only had one prior run at Delta Downs in the Samstown back in 2013. I'm hoping he's at least as good, if not a little better than he was then. I'm not going to hold that against him, one-off effort. He was away for a long time. He hit the winner's circle against a good group at Churchill Downs and was claimed by Randy Morse, who I think is pretty sharp at the claiming game. So I give Black Bear a little bit of an outside shot, but don't like the post.
I Came to Party's interesting in here to me. He's run twice at 7 furlongs at Charlestown in the Bobby Hilton Memorial and also in the Wild and Wonderful Stakes. Ran good in both races, a 3rd-place finish, a 4th-place finish. Charlestown, like Delta Downs, a bull ring, so the 7 furlong races at Charlestown were 2 turns, just like he'll try here. I Came to Party maybe a horse who kind of fits okay here, a 3-year-old taking on some elder horses, but this time of year, that shouldn't be that big of a deal. And again, these horses all looking for their first career stakes win, so we'll see if who gets that graduation move. Efren Loaza and Javier Castellano team up with Wildcat Wish. This horse is fresh off the claim, but Caton down at Gulfstream, stakes placed twice in the Triniberg and the Big Cypress. You would have to think Wildcat Wish is going to fit well here on class, looking for that first career stakes win, but has been all around the black type.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this horse, to be honest with you. Horse is very consistent, always runs a good race, but really overall, if you look at the record, she's more second and third than he is in the winner's circle. Mm-hmm. Maybe for a new barn, we'll see kind of a change of that, but he's definitely an exotics play in my mind, maybe not a win play.
I'm going bold here. I'm going to single the truth or else and go with singles in the first 2 legs of this pick 4 and then try to spread out. Who are you using pick 4-wise?
I'm probably using the 3, 5, and 10, and maybe I'll take a look at the 8 as well because he is on the fringe for me, but most likely 3, 5, 10.
On to the Delta Princess, $400,000 grade 3. We've seen some good ones come through here over the years. For this race to get up to graded status in its short history gives a testament to the good fillies who have been here over the years. Take Charge Brandy and others come to mind. This, to me, looked like the spread race of the pick 4. I had a hard time separating this one. You've got 6 last-out locales represented with the fillies in here, 5 last-out winners, and 4 stakes winners already in a 2-year-old stakes race. This is a good bunch.
It really is. I thought this, along with the Delta Jackpot, were the 2 races that, I narrow it down, if you can use that word loosely, to 5 or 6 real win contenders. So this is a race to spread. I will say, if you look at the pace scenario, there is, in my mind, a lot of speed, and especially with some horses that are coming off of shorter distance races, they're likely going to be even more forwardly placed. So as a result, I guess I was looking for something that I felt convinced could sit an off-the-pace trip, and that was the 1 Golden Mischief, who was winner of the My Trusty Cat. And I think that is going to be key here with the 1-2 finishers. In fact, the 1-2-3 finishers all coming back in Flatter Up and Forest Circle.
Let's go back and revisit the My Trusty Cat Stakes. Don Stevens on the mic.
They're coming to the top of the lane. John Jacinto has Flatter Up on the lead, but here comes Golden Mischief just rolling up on the outside. It's Flatter Up, Golden Mischief. Down on the inside, it's Forest Circle as Bling on the Music is checked out, and we have a new leader. It's Golden Mischief and Gerard Melancon to win the My Trusty Cat.
Well, not only do we have the 1, 2, and 3 finishers of the My Trusty Cat, Caton, get this, 23 for 32 lifetime in the exacta. That's the record of this entire field. 23 for 32 in the exacta. They haven't missed the mark much. This is a really tough and competitive bunch in here. And I'm looking at going at least 5 deep in here. I used Golden Mischief. I used Jilly, the 2. Caroline Test, the 3, coming off some speedy races in Kentucky. I also like the 9 Cajun Delta Dawn and the 10 Dude Fantasy because I couldn't separate those 2 coming in from Gulfstream.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that 2-year-old program at Gulfstream Park. So you have to look at the horses that have run well before. Maybe not getting the best of draws, though. Cajun Delta Dawn, who finished 4th but was beaten only a length and a quarter as the favorite, got a rough trip, I thought. And she draws post 9 here. And Dude Fantasy, who's undefeated in 2 starts and is a really promising daughter of First Dude, she draws post 10. So a very different scenario than what we saw in the My Dear Girl, but I still think that race could be an indication of some big things to come.
Let's listen in to the My Dear Girl and watch with Pete Aiello at the mic.
Cajun Delta Dawn bidding for the sweep of the series at the top of the stretch with the lead. The whip is out on Fleet Dude's second. Dude Fantasy tries to punch between horses, and up on the outside, Surprise Wedding. They turn for home in the My Dear Girl. Cajun Delta Dawn fighting on and still has the lead. To the attack, Dude Fantasy is coming after her. Down the center in Surprise Wedding. Here's Dude Fantasy to hit the lead. On the outside in Surprise Wedding, but the My Dear Girl to Dude Fantasy.
All right, Caton, time to narrow or maybe spread might be the more better approach here for the Delta Princess. Where are you going to lean here, and who are you going to use for the pick 4?
Okay, I'm definitely using the 1 Golden Mischief. The horses that we mentioned, Dude Fantasy, I'm going to throw in there. I think I'm going to, I mentioned the speed, but one of those speed horses might not end up on the lead and could luck into a good trip. I thought that might be the 8, Shane's Girlfriend, who draws toward the outside for Doug O'Neill. She was a easy winner of a Santa Anita maiden sprint going 3/4 of a mile, but she has a pedigree to maybe stretch out. And I thought maybe Flavien Prat can get her to relax a little bit. You might take a look at Jilly. I'm a little worried about her being down on the inside for Bob Baffert, though. But I am definitely using the 1 and the 8 and the 10. And if I'm throwing in a couple others, probably the 5, Flatter Up, for Brett Calhoun. Has some speed and experience over the track. She was second to Golden Mischief in that My Trusty Cat, and I think she can improve.
The one thing about Jilly is you don't want to make a mistake with a filly like that. She's named for the owner, Jill Baffert, who's the wife of the trainer, Bob Baffert. When you name one after the wife, she better be able to run a little bit. We'll see.
Exactly.
Jilly makes her stakes debut. She's all Baffert. She's by looking at Lucky, and she's out of So Spirited, the mare. All that mare has produced is Roman Ruler, El Corredor, and Maimonides, all for Baffert. So, I mean, there is a pure Baffert family pedigree here with Jilly. We'll see how that one turns out in the Delta Princess. We turn our attention now to the featured race, the $1 million Delta Jackpot. And 5 horses in this race are stakes winners. They're exiting victories. This is a race befitting of a Triple Crown or Breeders' Cup juvenile kind of field when you look at the trainers in this field. Bob Baffert, Doug O'Neill, Mark Casse, Kenny McPeak, Dale Roman, Steve Asmussen. You could put that in any Triple Crown banner and people would not blink an eye with those barns represented. And of those, 5 of those trainers have won Triple Crown races in their career. And Mark Casse's the one out of that big 6 who's not won a Triple Crown race, but he's won everything with 2-year-olds in North America this year. What a year it's been for Casse.
And Cassie's 2 horses are very different in terms of style, I think, anyway. Maybe at first glance it doesn't look like that, but the 3 Thirst for Life, I think, can sit a little off the pace, as he did a little earlier in his career at Churchill. Our Storm and Norman, meanwhile, I think has to have the lead. But both horses coming off wins in their most recent start. For Our Storm and Norman, it took him a while to break his maiden, but once he did, there was no stopping him. And I think he is kind of the most interesting on the stretch out, but Thirst for Life has experience and he's raced against Graded Stakes Company, so I give him a shot. Both horses draw very well here, and I think if Thirst for Life can sit a nice stalking trip and take advantage of that post, he's going to be a contender and he's going to take a step forward, because I think he, especially if it's a fast track, I think he appreciates a fast track. But I thought, the conversation sort of starts with Guinevere, the 6 horse. For Antonio Sano, which is kind of interesting because he's not a household name, but he has done some great work with the few horses he's had. Guinevere was winner of the Saratoga Special in May and then got a lot of time off, came back in the Breeders' Futurity, didn't show much, but I think could really move forward here.
And Guinevere made his mark in that Saratoga Special in August with a tremendous finish. Let's go back to the spot and Larry Colmus.
After a 45 flat half mile, they're into the stretch. Recruiting Ready is the leader. Recruiting Ready in front. Ganavera's made progress on the outside from last into second, but Recruiting Ready has kicked away to a 4-length lead here. Ganavera's trying to cut into that gap in second, passing the 16th pole. Recruiting Ready. Ganavera coming up on the outside. Oh, he's got him. Ganavera has won the Saratoga Special.
Since that big win in the Saratoga Special, it was on to the Breeders' Futurity for Ganavera, going around 2 turns at Keeneland. You know, there's no shame in getting beat 6 3/4 lengths in your first stretch out and splitting a good field like that was in the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity, especially after you saw Classic Empire come back and win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You have to give some company line thumbs up to Ganavera, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. And in terms of class, if you look at his 3 defeats in his 5 starts, they were at the hands of 3 Rules and Classic Empire, who were both in the Breeders' Cup. So, you know, when he is not facing the very, very best of the category, he's right there. And I think this could be another case where he might not be facing the best, at least at this point in time. But he actually faced Tip Tap Tapazar and beat him in that Saratoga Special. Now, I think Tip Tap Tapazar is an interesting play here for Steve Asmussen. Again, draws a really tough post, in my opinion, from post 10, but at least you have Gerard Melanson, you have a race over the track in the Jean Lafitte, and a kind of a good style to maybe be able to overcome that post position. I think Tip Tap Tapazar is an improving horse, and I think the Jean Lafitte could turn out to be a pretty important prep as well for this year.
Let's go back and relive the Jean Lafitte run just a couple weeks ago on October 22nd over this mile distance at Delta Downs. They'll go a 16th of a mile farther on Saturday, but it was Line Judge and Tip Tap Tapazar in that one. Don Stevens with the call.
Tip Tap Tapazar rumbles up on the outside with a furlong to go. It's Line Judge on the inside. Tip Tap Tapazar not getting any closer as drifting out is hard to be good. Then comes Cohen's Cat. They're in deep stretch. Line Judge and C.J. McMahon are going to win the Jean Lafitte Stakes.
And Caton, I really don't find any true toss-outs in this field. And I know that's cliched from a handicapper standpoint, but some of the horses that are a little bit lighter on the resume get a 5-pound weight break in here and only carry 117. That doesn't hurt. And a horse that doesn't have the credentials, but just coming off a maiden win, he's the lowest-ranked horse in the Prime Power. I'm big on the brisk past performances. I don't know the last time I picked a horse that was ranked last in the Prime Power as a win contender, but J. Boy's Echo, he did not impress the speed folks. There's no doubt about that. He did not get a big number, but visually, I thought he was the most impressive 2-year-old maiden breaker at Keeneland during the fall meet. He caught my eye. He's a half-brother to Unbridled Outlaw. He's out of a Menifee mare by Mineshaft. He's bred to go long. He dominated a maiden group, but he didn't do it in a fast time. What do you do when your eyes and the numbers tell you two different things?
Well, you know, sometimes you just have to rely on intuition. And if you did that at the Breeders' Cup, it steered you in the wrong direction because there were some races that came out of Kentucky that didn't come across as very fast, but the horses ran true to their form rather than their speed figures. So I think I'd take that into consideration with J. Boy's Echo and maybe disregard the time and look at the way he did it. He overcame some trouble in that race, too. So I kind of give him a shot here. I agree with you about not throwing anybody out because Bob Baffert's horse, Hot Sean, in post 8 is riding a 2-race win streak and got better as he faced tougher competition and stretched out to the mile. I think he is a real candidate here as he's by Flatter out of a Cherokee Run mare. I love that pedigree mix. He's one among my top contenders. And I think that you can't even eliminate the horses that, you don't know very much about or where they fit in with this group, but they've done a lot right. A horse like the 5 Dangerfield just won the Oak Tree Juvenile last out, and that was at 1:70, so he's probably the most proven at a distance of ground of anybody in this field. He's got tactical speed. That may be a plus, the way this field comes together. I will go as deep as my bankroll will allow, but I'm definitely using at least 4 or 5 horses in this one.
Well, with the two singles on the front end, I'm taking them all. I'm going single by 5 by all. That's 50 combinations, a $25 ticket for the pick 4 on Delta Jackpot Day. Hopefully get the first two singles in and then get to this race and be able to breathe easy. Straight up, though, I like Thirst for Life and J-Boy's Echo, both at what I think will be decent prices. I think those can be horses that we can play in the straight pools. But in terms of confidence on this pick 4, take as many as you can cast the net over and afford to use. But that will require that you have some stronger opinions early in the sequence. Again, the pick 4 races 4, 5, 6, and 7. Caton, thanks for joining us and for your insights, and good luck to you on Delta Jackpot Day.
Oh, good luck to everybody, and let the good times roll.